So, Destiny had on streamer xQc after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and they got into a debate here because a lot of the people in the streaming world, a lot of them are very right-wing, or at the very least, somewhat right-wing, and they end up running cover for the right, even though they might nominally be more apolitical, but generally speaking, many of them lean right. They got into this debate here about, the reaction of the left and the right to the shooting of Charlie Kirk. And this is a fucking amazing clip because xQc gets absolutely bodied, where he's trying to say, oh my God, the left, they're totally unhinged and they're so violent and this is unacceptable. And then Destiny comes in like a buzzsaw and lays out literally the exact opposite of what you're saying is the truth. Watch this.
You think it's a problem, but it's not. Every large media outlet and lawmaker on the left has unequivocally called it out as bad. Every person on the right is calling for fucking war and vengeance.
Oh my, that's the utopia pill. I feel like this is like.
What's the utopia pill? What's the utopia pill? What do you mean by that?
It's the leftist dumb fuck colored glasses. The
dumb fuck colored glasses? Bitch, what? Dumb fuck's not a color, dog. Oh my, this is gonna get worse, isn't it?
The left is calling this out. No, they have not. Bro, the way that they portray these things that happen.
Click this and show your stream. Click this and show your stream, and then you can find counterexamples. I got nothing else to do today. Go ahead, click this, show your stream, and let's just walk through both pictures, and then you can do all the counterexamples you want. Okay?
Yeah, I'm looking at your picture. What about it?
Left. Click the left one. On the top left, we've got former President Barack Obama. We've got former President Joe Biden. We've got huge international mainstream.
What he's pointing out is all of these big name Democrats were unequivocally condemning the shooting of Charlie Kirk.
Media figure Mehdi Hassan. Bottom left, alternative left-wing media figure Cenk Uygur. We've got hopeful presidential candidate, current Senator Bernie Sanders. We've got Mamdani from New York City. We've got California Governor Gavin Newsom. We've got David Hogg, who's a DNC chair.
And by the way, notice everybody that Destiny's listing here, it runs the gamut. It runs the gamut from like center-left liberal to leftist. Like, it runs the gamut. They're all like, yeah, hey, doing a political assassination is bad. We're against that.
We've got a representative, Pramila Jayapal, I can't pronounce her name.
Pramila Jayapal.
Center-left media figure Brian Tyler Cohen. Center-left media figure David Pakman, some of the largest people on the left wing on YouTube. We've got Crystal Ball. We've got Brian Krasenstein, huge fucking, Twitter lord, Hutch, fellow Twitch streamer for you, okay? Go to the next fucking picture. What do we have from these people? These are some of the biggest right-wing accounts. You think that this is comparable? You think that both sides are doing the same thing?
You can't see it. I'm going to show you this in a second, by the way, but what he's showing is all the right-wingers were flat out calling for war. It's night and day. The difference is every left-wing big media figure and politician, liberal and left-wing, were condemning it. Every right-winger was saying, this means war. This means war, and you got to go for them.
I can send you videos of people on the Daily Wire. We can go through Matt Walsh's response, where he says the time for playing nice is over. We can go through Ben Shapiro's response.
What you did, unironically, you sat there at your computer, and you linked me this shit that compares Barack Obama to the libs of TikTok. I have had enough with your stupid dog shit.
Who is the video? Who is the guy?
I can't do it.
Who is the guy? Who is the guy in the top middle? Who is that guy? What's that video of? Who is that?
It's Donald Trump in the top middle. And he did an address from the Oval Office, which was like shitting on the left and saying they're the problem and they're the enemy. So, further proves his point.
Did he walk away?
Now, look, to be fair, I think he does come back, but it does look like he rage quit and then came back. Why? Because he got fucking obliterated. So here, let's go through what Destiny put up there. So yes, on the liberal and left side, Barack Obama condemned it. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Mehdi Hassan, Cenk Uygur, Bernie Sanders, Zoran, Gavin, David Hogg, Pramila Jayapal, Brian Tyler Cohen, Dave Pakman, Crystal Ball, my wife, Brian Krasenstein, not my wife, Hutch, also not my wife. Then on the right-wing side, Libs of TikTok, This is War, Joey Manorino, big right-wing account. The Democrat Party must be classified as a domestic terror organization against organization and their members, leaders treated accordingly. Enough is enough. Brian Eastwood, official, Rando, Sean Davis, Trump's reaction, Gunther Eagleman, Elon Musk. The left is the party of murder from Elon Musk. Chris Rufo, another big right-wing account, the last time the radical left orchestrated a wave of violence and terror, J. Edgar Hoover shut it all down within a few years. It's time, within the confines of the law, to infiltrate, disrupt, arrest, and incarcerate all of those who are responsible for this chaos. Laura Loomer, more Elon Musk. If they won't leave us in peace, then our choice is fight or die. You got Fox News' Jesse Waters, who was basically calling for war as well. It doesn't even stop there. So the right has actually gone lower than this, too, because here you have this guy, the trigonometry guy. He goes, I guess this is on Piers Morgan's show, and he decides, hey, how about I blame Cenk Uygur for what happened to Charlie Kirk here? Let's watch.
But I found it difficult to sit there and listen to this preposterous conversation you've just had. I don't understand what... this time last year, I sat across from one of your guests, Cenk, on that particular occasion, in which he tried to persuade me for 20 minutes that Donald Trump was a fascist.
'Cause he is! If anything bad happens to anybody on the right, they say, you're no longer allowed to tell the truth. You're no longer allowed to point out he opened up Alligator Alcatraz and sent people to a gulag concentration camp in El Salvador called CCOT and wants to send 30,000 immigrants to Guantanamo Bay. You're not allowed to point that out. You're not allowed to point out that ICE thugs are walking around with fucking masks on, waiting outside of courtrooms and rounding people up, even if the immigration judge says, you're free to go. You're not allowed to point out that he's threatening Greenland, he's threatening Canada, he's threatening Panama, he's already bombed Iran, Yemen, Somalia. You're not allowed to point that out. You're not allowed to point out he already illegally invaded LA, he invaded DC, he invaded, or he wants to invade Chicago, but the governor fought back, so now he's changing that to Memphis. You're not allowed to point out any of these things which objectively show he meets the definition of a fascist. You can't point that out because somebody on the right got shot at. No, I'm sorry. You can condemn violence while also saying, I will also tell the truth about the political project that the right is engaged in. It's so amazing. They immediately take this moment to wage a war on factual accuracy.
That's how the left talks about their political opponents. And I'm someone...
By the way, there's a supercut going around now. I didn't pull it up for this segment, but there's a supercut going around nonstop. Trump calling everybody he disagrees with a fascist. Now, the difference is when Trump says it about us, he's just wrong. When we say it about him, we are right. That's the difference.
I'm just looking at the facts of what I see. We have had for the last 10 years, what has happened to the word Nazi as a result of the woke left's behavior is completely unacceptable. This is a word that we had for a very specific group of people that was supposed to describe people who believe in National Socialism and fascism. These words have very specific meanings, and the meanings that they had were very important for being able to describe people who are actually of that opinion. And instead, both in America and here across the Atlantic in Britain, we've had, and we're not talking about people on Twitter or people on Blue Sky. I'm talking about David Lammy, who's the current deputy prime minister, talking about a group of conservative Eurosceptics and saying they're worse than Nazis. We've had this for a whole decade now, the complete dehumanization of people for simply having political disagreements.
Oh my God. So the dehumanization, he doesn't mean it's dehumanization of Palestinians or Muslims or Arabs or immigrants here at home or trans people. No, that's not, he's talking about dehumanization of what? The people in this country that have the Senate, the House, the White House, the courts, and control every major lever of power. Somehow they're the victims, even though they control everything and everybody. They run everything, but they're the victims. Please spare me. Jesus Christ, the fucking cry bully shit.
And so when I see that the killer of Charlie Kirk had these so-called anti-fascist inscriptions on his ammunition, I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. Of course this would happen. And people like to pretend that this has no consequence. Well, think about it, Piers. You're a man. I'm a man. If you and I thought that fascism was actually here, as we keep being told, wouldn't it be our duty to stand up and fight? So can we really be surprised then when some deranged guy picks up a rifle and shoots someone who people on the media, people on TV keep saying is a fascist, keep saying is...
It's so inconvenient for his whole narrative that is literally like 90-10 when it comes to political violence. 90% comes from the right, 10% comes from the left. All of the objective data shows that. It's mighty fucking inconvenient. Notice the reaction now to the Charlie Kirk thing. What were all these people saying when the Minnesota Democrats got assassinated by a fucking MAGA terrorist who had a literal list, an endless list of Democrats he wanted to assassinate? What were they saying then? They were saying dick. They were saying nothing. They weren't even fucking talking about it. None of them even talked about it. Never mind, talked about it and come to these sweeping conclusions. So spare me your fucking faux outrage, where it's so goddamn selective. So selective. And you're also assuming he doesn't mention groypers, that they might play a role in this. He doesn't mention the contradictions in the official story that seems to make no sense, and it kind of looks like a professional hit job, so it might be some not the right or the left in this scenario. He doesn't mention any of that. You heard it at the beginning, but he mentioned Cenk Uygur. I find that so fucking deplorable. I find that so deplorable that he mentioned Cenk Uygur. I watched the episode of The Young Turks the night that Charlie Kirk got killed, and it was wall-to-wall condemnations of violence and saying, we don't believe in violence. If you're on the left, you don't believe in violence. If you're on the left, you believe in peaceful, nonviolent resistance. That's what you believe in. He says it's immoral. He says it's unethical. He says it's unacceptable. He says it's stupid. Everything anybody on the right would want somebody on the left to say in a moment like this, fucking Cenk said it, and he still got blamed by these loathsome cretins. Absolutely disgusting. Finally, I'll give you what Matt Walsh said, because I think this is very instructive. So Matt Walsh comes out and says the following. Ready? I cannot unite with the left because they want me dead. They will spit on my grave when I die and laugh in the faces of my wife and children. There can be no unity with such people, but I will unite with anyone on the right. I hereby discard any grudge or personal feud I may have had with anyone on my side. Maybe we will pick up those arguments sometime in the future. Now we have to stand together. So a couple things. First of all, there's no acknowledgement from Matt Walsh that like 95% of people on the liberal and left side were like, yeah, don't kill people. That's bad. He just hyper-focuses on like based tanky Stalin 6969 on Twitter, who was celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, and pretends like that is broadly the left, right? And so you're all the same. You're all bad. You're all the same. You all want me dead. You all want to spit on my grave, etc. So that's point number one is, make the boogeyman out of the other side. But point number two is, look at how quickly these guys, boom. They're like, oh, whatever. Let's throw all of our differences aside. If you're right of center, you're with me, and I'm on your team, and now let's unite and let's destroy the other side. And this is not something you ever see on the liberal and leftist side. There has been a movement towards more unity among liberals and leftists in this second Trump regime because it's been so fucking horrific. But you never see like a very clear, open declaration like this from somebody on the left or a liberal to say, look, in this moment, we got bigger fish to fry, so we gotta unite, we gotta hold hands, we gotta work through whatever our differences are. We'll put them aside and let's just focus on what we know is the common enemy in this country, which is the rising tide of fascism and extremism and authoritarianism, and the destruction of this country from within, and destruction of our foreign policy, destruction of our economy, and everything like that. You don't see people say that, and so this should serve as a wake-up call to everybody who's even slightly left of center to far left. Like this is how they're thinking. They view you as all the same. They view all of us as all the same. And maybe it's time that we sort of wake up to that fact and realize that there's a different and a better time and place to go through liberal and leftist differences. In this moment, it's got to be a united front. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.